Hello, wellness besties, and welcome back to the Yoga Socialite pod. This is my first pod back after losing my voice. There might be some sniffles, there might be some throat clearing, but we're gonna make it through together. And this podcast episode is all about honoring your body and the after. After the rest, after the fever, after the setback, whether you're coming from a cold, a burnout, or a full-on wipeout season, this episode is your permission slip to slow down, move gently, and remind yourself you are a living testimony. So you know how I love to do things short, sweet, and to the point, so we're gonna hop right in.
What's up, wellness junkies? It's the girl with the business brain and yoga body, Sabrina Zealous, welcoming you to Yoga Socialite. This is the place where asana meets aesthetic, so we're here for the good vibes, the cute fits, and the real talk. Let's get into it.
As I mentioned at the top of the pod, I lost my voice last week, and also this podcast episode is coming out a day after what it normally does. And I had to do that because, again, my body's a living testimony of all of the things that I experienced last week, and I had to be gentle with myself. I felt instantly, my body, I feel like, is almost, I'm AI before AI. Like, my body is a robot. I am a well-oiled machine, okay? I can feel instantly when I get sick. And I was subbing a class Tuesday morning, and about 40 minutes into the class, I felt it. I was like, my sinuses are going berserk. I'm about to have a sinus infection. I 100% can feel it. I'm gonna lose my voice. I just knew it. And I actually said it in the class. I was like, I think I'm losing my voice. Bear with me. Let me finish this class, but I need to get home to my immunity boost, my oregano oil, and try to do all my preventative maintenance things. So if you've been feeling a little off, a little behind, or just not quite like yourself, this episode is for you. I wanted to title this episode, Your Body's a Living Testimony, not just about being sick, but just about all the different experiences that we go through, that our body is there for us. And I'm thinking of a friend's post this morning. Rakita, I'm thinking of you. And I'll make sure to put her social media over here on the side so you can find her on Instagram. She has such a beautiful testimony. She had a heart condition when she was just a baby, and she wasn't supposed to make it past 2 years old. And she had experienced different physical ailments in her body to where she was not supposed to have the body that she has today. And you can read the full Instagram post to hear it from her voice, but I'm just gonna give you a little paraphrase here. Long story short, after reading her post, I was thinking, your body is a living testimony, because now she's doing fitness competitions and bodybuilding competitions, and this is someone who wasn't even supposed to make it past 2 years old. And it started to make me think, even in this slight ailment that I had of a sinus infection, how our bodies are a living testimony of all of the things that we've experienced and we have overcome. You can think of it as a scar. I have like a little scar on my hand right now from, I don't even remember what that's from, but I have a bigger scar on my leg from when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I decided to jump from the top of a giant Astro van down to the ground and got cut on something that was on the side of the van, some type of metal piece, because I thought I was Catwoman. Now, my sister might deny this, but she also talked me into thinking I was Catwoman because my name is Sabrina. If you know anything about Batman comics, Catwoman's name is Selena. I almost said Serena. Wait, is it Serena? Now I'm second guessing myself. I'm like, I have my computer right here. Selena Kyle. Yeah, I was right. I was like, wait, now is it Serena? I'm having a Gossip Girl moment. So Catwoman's name is Selena. My name is Sabrina, and I had a black cat at the time. And you know, when you're like 4 to 5 years old, you're highly impressionable. So I thought maybe I was Catwoman, and I had the agility to land on my feet because I could jump from the top of my bunk bed. Well, we're not going to go off on that whole tangent there, but I have that scar in my leg, and it also just shows me how far I've come. And you're thinking, how far you've come? Well, you figured out you weren't Catwoman? No, how far I've come just in life in general, that now I am so rooted and true to myself that you're not going to talk me into thinking I'm something that I'm not. Or I had this experience and I had this traumatic injury, but you know what? I survived it. Also, like my finger, I don't know why I didn't think of my finger first. I've talked about this before, how I have a scar on my finger, on my middle finger from when I was skiing, and my finger literally got cut off. I don't even think I could put the picture up here. I think my video would get flagged if I did. And it had to get sewn back on. And that, again, it shows you that resilience and how your body can take something literally that has come off and heal and merge it back together. And that is the greatness of who we are. We can have these experiences and we can heal and we can learn from it, and it can make us even better than what we were before. So let's talk about the truth about getting better and overcoming those obstacles, whether it be a cold or just life in general. None of us like to get sick. None of us like to go through hard times. It's inconvenient. It's uncomfortable. It's not aesthetically pleasing. And you know, that's the world we live in. It's very aesthetically pleasing these days. But it also teaches you that you can learn, you still can grow, and it shows you how much you are. I want to say this correctly, so give me a moment to think of the best way to say this. It shows you who you are as a person and the evolution of who you are. When you're forced to slow down, cancel plans, and literally rest your voice like I was last week, I couldn't speak last week, literally. I had to use this microphone pack, put it in a voice amplifier, and that's how I spoke to people at the studio last week. And I didn't take time off work. Unfortunately, I couldn't. I didn't have the coverage that I needed to be able to do that. But I made sure, and that was a learning lesson for me in that aspect, and I'll get more into that. But not having your voice literally, it made me recognize how important my words are and the importance of choosing my words wisely, because I had a finite amount of voice and I could only say a few things. And I know there's like an Eddie Murphy movie about that where he only has a certain amount of words and there's a tree that's like losing leaves every time he speaks. That's kind of what I was envisioning. Like, I had so many people giving me calls that day and I had to tell them, hey, I am so sorry. I unfortunately cannot have a conversation with you. And I sent them this as a text message. I am losing my voice. I have 3 more classes to teach this week and an open house at the end of the week, and I really have to preserve my words. And that was hard to do, to set those boundaries with some people, but I had to take care of myself. And being in that experience also showed me, one, little areas that need more improvement for like my workspace. So having extra helpers, like I have a really good team, but I could use a few extra people in there for when things like this happen and everyone's out of town or everyone's sick or has an emergency, then I can have someone step in and help. And then it also showed me the importance of me starting to say no and to take on more of my managerial side than just always subbing for people or always working the front desk and always being the like front runner or front person. Really utilizing my team in a way that I can step back some and preserve my energy. So when you're forced to slow down like that, or you are in a situation where you have to slow down because you don't know which way to turn, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not falling behind. You are starting to create that living testimony for yourself. You're about to have an experience that is either going to be helpful to someone else in the future as well. It's gonna, hopefully you don't hear my stomach growling, y'all. Oh my God, that was so loud. You probably did. Sorry, I need to eat ASAP, but I'm gonna finish recording the podcast so I can really enjoy my breakfast. So you are having these experiences because it could help someone else in the future, as well as it's going to be a testimony for yourself. You can look back at that experience and say, my gosh, I overcame that. And I know if I overcame that whatever the next circumstances, I'm going to have the same feeling. It reminds me of like when things are such a big deal for you in high school. Oh my gosh, it's going to be the end of the world if such and such says something to me in high school. You remember that kind of feeling? And then like as an adult, you look back at that and you're like, ew, like who was that person? You can't even remember the person's name that you were like having a fit about. And it's just that recognizing that when you're in that moment, sometimes it's a bigger deal than what it is, but that experience is going to help you in the future to either one, say, I know I can overcome this, to say, look how far I've come, or three, be a testimony to yourself and others. So why is it hard I'm sitting in this really amazing chair that wiggles and like I'm always like shaking my legs. So please bear with me. I noticed that in my last video, for those of you who are watching the video version, that like I always like, am a metronome for myself and my leg is like always going. And then I'm like, why am I like, look like I'm like doing the Harlem Shake in the video or giving a shimmy, and that's why. So I got to do better at that. Okay, let's get back on track. So why is it hard to welcome ourselves back? Coming back after being sick is weird. This is actually my second take of this podcast because it's just so awkward for me to come back and record the pod. I love being in front of the camera. It's my happy place. Hello, my degrees in communications with public relations and a minor in marketing. Like this is my thing, journalism, this is my whole thing. But because it's been a while since I've been in front of the camera, I have felt so awkward. And so I had to re-record this because I was all over the place in that first video. But I think it's hard for us to come back because we're not 100%. You can hear it in my voice. I'm at like 98.999%. You're not completely out of it either. And there's just so much pressure to bounce back. I even had to give myself permission to post this video a day after the usual day the podcast comes out because I still needed to take that time to rest. And I'm still having to be gentle with myself. So be mindful of that when you're in the midst of your recovery and you're in the midst of having that living testimony. You don't have to dive right back into your workouts, your to-do list, your inbox. I know that's what society pushes on us, even as women especially. Think about when someone has a baby or when someone gets engaged. It's all of this pressure of like, when is it happening? And when's your body gonna come back? Or when are you gonna pick your dress? And there's all of this pressure of now. And I love Amazon just as much as everyone else. I love my 2-day delivery. However, it's important to remember to slow down and welcome yourself back with grace. So how do we do that? I like to call starting off with baby girl energy. Now, I am the baby of my family, so baby girl energy comes very natural to me. However, baby girl energy is like that soft life. It's thinking of it as if it's like your first time ever doing something. When you are first doing something, you know you're not going to be perfect at it, and you're gentle with yourself and you're okay with it, and you give yourself time to make those mistakes. And that's the same type of energy you have to do when you're having a comeback. It's okay to pivot. It's okay that I may not get all of that finished right now. Heck, my body just got its energy back. Just be mindful of that. Also in baby girl energy, I like to give myself a really good playlist to keep my brain in that like recovery mode. Like, okay, I'm feeling myself. I always tell you all how great a good playlist can be. Whether that's shifting your energy or also maintaining your energy, because you hear those songs, it reminds you of like who you are and where you're going, kind of thing. Also, ritual is greater than routine. Instead of snapping back into the hustle, make sure your healing feels sacred. Maybe that is taking more mindful breaks, even setting little breaks in your phone. Maybe your phone goes off every 30 minutes to remind you to chill, to breathe, to get a sip of water, to have that hot tea. Maybe you skip, if you're a yoga teacher, maybe you skip doing the poses with your students that day and you just instruct. And then last but not least, wear the fit anyway. Dressing for success truly is a thing. When you are dressed up, you do feel better about yourself. It's just something that psychologically, we could go into the whole psychology of it, but it's just something that gets into the root of our psyche that like, okay, I'm more presentable. I'm like ready to go. And you're looking at me like, girl, you're wearing yoga clothes, but that is my dress for success. Putting on one of my favorite yoga outfits makes a huge difference. Let me tell you, this Sunday we had open house. It was my first day really starting to feel more like myself. And I had to choose between wearing an outfit that we have in studio that everyone loves and more than likely would increase sales of this outfit because I've had to order it like 2 or 3 times already. Or I could wear my blue outfit. So one's a red outfit, one's a blue outfit. And I chose to wear the blue outfit because the blue outfit made me feel more comfortable, as well as the blue outfit. Blue is like the Aquarius power color, they say. And I just needed to feel myself again, feel like myself and be in my body again, as I'm still learning and regulating to do. So each day this week, I have been really like choosing my outfits based on my energetic body. Like, okay, you know what? I need a little more pep in my step. I'm going to wear my little preppy plaid today, that kind of thing. And that really helps me take my best first step forward. So the listener challenge for this week is that I want you to remind yourself first that your story, your healing is worth honoring. And in doing so, pick one way your body has supported you recently, even if it's small. Maybe it fought off a sinus infection like mine has. Thank you to all my immunity boost and oregano oil and lots of water. I'm gonna take a little sip. And yes, I got a new cup for those of you who are watching. I could do a whole video on this cup. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do a hydro jug review because this is like, I haven't had a Stanley cup, but I feel like this is probably better than a Stanley. And I know that might be Stanley blasphemy. Back to your listener challenge. Pick one way your body has supported you recently, even if it's small. And I want you to thank your body for that. I want you to write yourself, even just jot it down in the note section of your phone, a really kind note to your body for what it has done for you. Maybe you make it into an affirmation. Maybe you give yourself a little meditation. There is a mindfulness practice. Perhaps I will record an audio version of this mindfulness practice that you can experience on YouTube. Or even maybe I can do it and put it on just like a podcast, like a meditation podcast for the day. But there is a mindfulness practice where you thank every single part of your body from your big toe all the way up to the crown of the head. And you forgive yourself for unkind things that you've said about your body. At least that's how I do it, because you know I love to practice kindness. As I forgive myself for anything unkind I've said about that part of my body, and then I thank that part of my body for what it's helping me do today. And if you do like to do our listener challenges, please make sure to tag me at Yoga Socialite so I can hype you up, so I can repost it. And this is just a reminder that you don't need to be 100% to be powerful, to be present, and to be you. Give yourself grace, take that time to heal, And I cannot wait to see all of you on the other side of our healing journey. I was like, wait a second. Maybe I've been watching too much Vampire Slayer. And yes, that was a Buffy reference. Have a beautiful day, everyone.